All right, let's be with Mapbox. So Mapbox is a mapping library for displaying maps and doing cool stuff with maps. It's basically an alternative to Google Maps, and the reason why Mapbox is really popular is because of you can style it and make it look very elegant. All right, so to use Mapbox, all you need to do is go to your Elements tab and drag in the map. Right, it's right here, Mapbox. I'm going to drag it to the page. Quickly, I'm going to resize this. That way we can see our map properly. You see there's an access token required. If you don't have a Mapbox account, you can create one for free. Just get a free access token. I'm going to go here to the element attribute or element settings and look at the attribute section. I'm going to paste in my token here. And my map should be loading in, somewhat sluggish. Uh, let's see. Actually, that was I pasted in the wrong thing. Let me paste in the actual token. There we go. All right, so pasted in our access token, and we have our map. And you can see that we have a bunch of attributes. We basically take all the options available in Mapbox and we present it in this nice and easy to use interface. So let's kind of go from top to bottom. Here you see center, the center position. Uh, it defaults to 00, longitude, latitude. Let's change this real quick. Let's see, let's change this to negative 96. 96. I'm just going to make that negative. And we're going to change this to 37.8. All right, so we've basically recentered our uh, map. Let's just look at it in preview mode. All right, let's refresh the page. It's, for whatever reason, zoomed out really far. If we want to bring this in, we could just easily affect the zoom here. We could change it to, let's say, we'll say 5. Let's bring it back. Let's say 2. There you go. All right, so we've basically changed the center of our map. We've basically zoomed in a little bit. You can set the bounds for zoom, minimum, maximum zoom. For pitch is basically the tilt of your map. There's a minimum and maximum of minimum of 0, maximum of 85. So let's say if we change this to 10, and our map begins to look a little flat. Let's say we change it to 30. See the effect of the pitch. All right, so that's pitch. I'm gonna leave this as is at 30. Let's keep going down. And these are just all properties of Mapbox. So, if you look at the documentation for Mapbox, you will see all these fields and options. Like you have your style. You can basically go to Mapbox, customize how you want your maps to look. I get that style's uh, URL, paste it in here. Uh, bearing snap. All these are just properties of Mapbox. We've basically given you everything you need to build a complete Mapbox solution. So the interactive option here is basically just, do you want this map to be interactive? So if I were to toggle this off, see my map is no longer interactive. If scroll up, scroll down, nothing happens. If I toggle this back on, if I scroll, it's now interactive. You can even see that I can it gives me that different cursor, uh, just that indicates that this is actually an interactive map. So there's a bunch of configurations. Logo position, it's bottom left by default, but you can put it wherever you want. So we're not going to go into the details of all these options. The documentation is pretty deep if you go to mapbox.com. we also do a good job of putting some of the documentation here as well. So if you see it on there, chances are that it's on here as well. Scroll to zoom, scroll zoom, it's basically the same thing. If you toggle this off, then if you scrolled, it doesn't zoom in. But if you put it back on, then you can scroll in and out. Let's keep going. So basically, we're just gonna skip a lot of these if I see something that's important. So yeah, say render world copies. So if you notice by default, when you pull out, you see like copies of the of the world, or multiple copies. So if I go in here and I say I do not want to render world copies, so we have that one copy. If I zoom out, that's it. We only have the one. And now if I zoom out, we have the duplicates. All right, fade duration. So this is all. Now we might want to add markers to our map, uh, and we can just do that easily by just saying enable markers, and then a bunch of options come into play. So there is something called Geojson, and Geojson is very complex. It's this data structures for maps, and here we try to just take away that complexity, make it simple, by basically just saying, hey, create any data structure that you want to create, and then just plug in the details here, and we'll take care of everything. So to really show that, let's just look at our app data. So we have this markers data that we initialize with our app with. So it's not a it's not a GeoJSON data structure. It's just a regular object or array of objects. It basically has a couple it basically has a couple of objects, with three fields: long, lat, text. So you can have as many fields, as much data as you need for your application. You could have that in your data structure. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna use this array to basically add markers to our map. All right. So remember that the app data field is markers. So we're gonna uh, here's asking us for the marker list. So what we're gonna do here is that we are going to connect to that app data field. So it's going to be app data. So we see the parameter pop up. We're going to select it. And over here, we're going to see this option to map into an object or a data structure. And I'm going to click on it. And the field that we're looking for is markers, right? So as you can see, we have an indicator that, we do have some marker data. So now it's asking us for the marker longitude field, right? So basically, it's just a field that resolves to the number that represents the longitude of one of the marker points. And if you open up our app data, as you can see, we have that represented as long. All you need to do is just type in long, and the marker latitude field is lat. We have that here. If we look at the app data, we have it as lat. All right, so we've done this. We've mapped everything. Let's see if we can see it in preview. All right, so as we can see in the preview mode, we have the two points. Let's exit preview mode. It's pretty much the same thing. We see the 2 points that we wanted that we have basically put a marker on in our data structure. So let's say we want to have a pop-up. So when we click on, the marker, let's say we want to display some message. We could do that very easily. If you notice here, we have some field called text. All right. So if we go over here to our attributes, if we scroll all the way down to some of the marker options, we can see something here that is marker pop-up text field. All I gotta do is just type in text because that's the field that has the text. And if I were to click on my, well, let it save first. There's usually a buffer between your last action and when it saves. So now it's saving. All right, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to refresh and get a fresh copy of this map. And now when I click on it, it it gives me that pop-up, East Coast, West Coast, right? So let's go back to the options. So we have the default marker. What if you want something unique, right? Uh, you wanted to change perhaps the marker image. So you can basically just set the marker image URL field, and we will replace the marker with whatever that image is. And this will be like a field in your app, in your data structure. So we've just made this very easy. Before now, you would need to have a strong knowledge of Geojson. But we've basically just made it simple. We're just saying, hey, just give us your data structure. Do not restructure anything, and just point to the fields. Another thing to note is that this application does take Geojson. Uh, Sorry, it does take you know it does use what's it called, points, uh dot notation. That's It's a tongue twister, dot notation, right? And so basically this means that if you had a sub data structure, maybe you had like a nested object, maybe you had, maybe the text was in an object called text object. I can just say text object dot text, right? And then it would find it would go in there and extract that data. Just keep that in mind, that you don't have to change, you don't have to transform your data. You can just use dot notation to basically traverse the data structure. And now we have layers. This is basically just a concept with Mapbox, where you can apply layers on your map, like heat maps and all that stuff. If you just enable that, then it unlocks a bunch of options. The same thing goes, you provide the layer list, and then you just map the fields that are relevant for your layers. And all this is basically in your Mapbox documentation. All right. So just real quickly, we just wanted to show you Mapbox, show you how it works with in-house cloud, how easy it is to implement, how programmatic it is, because as you can see with all these options, you can make it dynamic using functions. So depending on user actions, you can do different things. The one thing with in-house cloud that is very important to us, that we do not like to build full solutions, right? So we wouldn't build, we wouldn't build this map with with search pre-built into it. We wouldn't do all those things because we've given you all the tools to make that happen yourself. So you build it the way you want to build it. And if you do want a specific map that is already pre-done and ready to go, all you need to do is just build it out, save it, and you can reuse it as many times as you want. All right, that's it for Mapbox. See you in the next video.